What's up guys, in this video I'm going to take you through how to gain weight. I'm going to give you 5 tips for the hard gainers out there that just struggle to gain weight. Alright, this was me when I was growing up. When I was a younger kid, I was a skinny boy. I couldn't gain weight, I'd eat a ton, but ultimately I would just burn it all off and I would struggle to gain weight. So this is tips to get in extra calories and help bulk your physique. Let's go. Tip number 1 is to get into a calorie surplus. If you don't know what a calorie surplus is, ultimately it's consuming more calories than you burn throughout the day. So let's say you burn 2,500 calories a day, not in a workout, but throughout the day, inclusive of your basal metabolic rate, your thermic effect of food, your non-planned exercise, your planned exercise. At the end of the day, in 24 hours, with your amount of walking and training you do, if you burn 2,500 calories, you have to consume more calories than 2,500 if you want to gain weight. And this principle is the law of thermodynamics. So if you eat 2,400 calories, which is less than you burn, you will drop weight. And that's what a lot of people do when they struggle to gain weight, is that they just don't eat enough. So tip number 1 is make sure you're eating above your maintenance level, which creates a calorie surplus. And if you don't know what level of calories to have, you can use my free calorie calculator. The link will be in the description. Tip number 2, to make it easier to hit that calorie surplus, eat hyperpalatable foods. Hyperpalatable foods are foods that are just delicious to you, right? And that's different to everyone, depending on what country you're from, what cultural background you come from, what genetics you have. Like, people gravitate towards different foods, okay? Now, I love ice cream. So if I'm needing to gain weight, I will try and get in ice cream, right? I still get in my protein, I still get in my fruit and veg, right? I'm still hitting different sources of meat, but if I need to get more carbs and fat in my diet, if I go to ice cream, I know I'm going to get there. If I go to burgers, I also know I'm going to get there. Now, I know that this isn't the most clean way to get in these extra calories, but sometimes when you eat too clean and you try and get those calories in, your fiber gets too high and you actually get too full. So it's actually okay sometimes to dive outside of these healthy foods and jump into more calorie dense foods to help you get your calories up. For example, if you have smoothies every morning, you can put a scoop of ice cream in there. That's going to bulk it up. You can put peanut butter in there. You can put chocolate in there. That's going to make it taste awesome as well, but it's also going to get these calories up. So that is tip number 2. Make sure you're eating hyper palatable, nice tasting foods that you enjoy. Tip number 3 is drink your calories. The research is pretty clear that the more you chew your food, the more filling or satiating it's going to be. So if you chew your food less, aka drink it, then you're going to be able to consume more calories, right? So I'm a huge fan of smoothies for people that are struggling to gain weight. And like I said before, you can put things like ice cream in, you can put things like chocolate in, you can put things like peanut butter, you can put honey in, you can put avocado, you can put in oats, you can put in a ton of things in smoothies. And because you're drinking it, it's going to be easier to consume a lot more calories. And if you struggle to hit your carbohydrates, you can put things like honey on your food, or you can put things like maple syrup, even that can go in the smoothie, or you can drink things like orange juice, apple juice, fruit juice, tomato juice, all these types of things, right? But drinking your calories is a great way to get your calories up because you just don't feel full, so it's easier to consume. For example, if you drink a cup of orange juice, it might be around 150 calories. But if you eat a cup of rice, it might be about 200 calories. But eating a cup of rice is much more filling and satiating than it is drinking a cup of orange juice. You can easily drink 1, 2, 3 cups of orange juice, get your carbohydrates really high with little fiber and little satiety, right? And I know that this goes against everything that you understand with weight loss, but we're literally trying to do the opposite. So try and drink as many calories as possible if you can't get the amount of calories that you need in. Number 4, eat more often. And I want to take you to intermittent fasting as an example. People often lose weight when they're doing intermittent fasting because they're time restrictive feeding. So they're not eating and then they're eating, say, between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. So they have this 8-hour block where they're eating. And because they have a limited window of eating, they often eat less calories. And that's the magic of intermittent fasting. People don't have the time to get in as much food. So if you're like skipping breakfast and just having lunch, snack, dinner, you're going to be less likely to gain weight than if you added breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, because you have more time to consume more calories. It's basic maths. So if you aren't eating often and you're not gaining weight, try and add a meal. Try and add 2 meals, because if you eat more often, that's going to give you more opportunities to get more calories in. And if you're eating more often and more of those meals are liquid calories and more of those meals are hyperpalatable, then you're going to help yourself even get better results in terms of bulking up and gaining weight. So try and eat more often. Definitely don't try and bulk and do intermittent fasting if you're struggling to gain weight. Drop that, eat regular meals, space them out 3 to 4 hours. You don't have to eat every 2 hours like a professional bodybuilder, right? But having a consistent flow of calories will be easier to consume more food. Tip number 5, add more variety. I was reading some research the other morning and it was showing that with weight loss, if you give variety with fruits and vegetables, that's going to encourage more weight loss behavior or weight loss in general, right? But if you in turn have more variety in hyperpalatable foods and kind of snack food, junk food type of thing, like if you have different varieties of ice cream or different donuts or different breads or different types of burgers, and that's more exciting, then you're typically going to probably gain weight because it's more exciting and you're getting this variability on your palate. Like you're getting stimulated, you're getting these new senses and you're getting these new tastes, so it's more exciting for you and you're probably going to eat more. But if you do it with fruit and veg, you'll probably eat more fruit and vegetable because it's more exciting. You get all these different tastes. So it can either go with weight loss or go with weight gain. And obviously, once again, I'm not saying just eat a ton of junk food and just get overweight. I'm not trying to do that, but I am trying to say if you're not gaining weight the way that you are, potentially you have to lean into these high calorie dense foods so that you can actually gain weight, because it comes down to creating a calorie surplus. Tip number 1 that I said at the start of the video. I made these tips assuming that you're already lifting weights at least 3 times a week. And if you're not, let me put that in here. You need to be lifting weights if you want to gain weight and gain muscle mass, right? Creating a calorie surplus, you will gain a bit of body fat, but if you are lifting weights close to failure regularly with a good training split, at least 3 times a week, I prefer 4, 5, or 6, and you're going to be able to build muscle mass as well. And this is the perfect time to do it when you're in this bulking or calorie surplus phase, because your recovery is going to be optimal. Your performance in the gym is not going to be limited because you're not in a calorie deficit. You don't have a lack of calories or a lack of carbohydrates in your system. Your carbohydrates are fully ready to go, so you can really hit PBs. You can get really strong. So one thing I wish I did when I was a kid was actually spent more time bulking. I remember when I was like 18 to 21, I spent it always in a calorie deficit trying to get lean. And I was like, man, I really wish I didn't do that, because I think I missed these really high opportunistic years to just really build a lot of muscle mass, because I'm growing, and if I had heaps of food at that time, I feel like I could have got really strong and really built an even stronger, solid base of muscle mass that I have today. So if you're listening to this and you're anywhere between 14, 15, 18, really double down on creating a calorie surplus and building as much muscle mass as possible, because it pays dividends as you get older. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is 5 tips to gain weight. This is for the hard gainers out there. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, I hope you didn't watch this video or literally do the exact opposite of what I taught. But if you're struggling to gain weight and you're a hard gainer like I was growing up, these tips will definitely help you. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section. Let me know. I read them all the time, whether it's with my shorts or on my podcast or with these videos that I make, these educational ones to help you get results. I always read them and I love hearing from you. I'll see you in the next video. Let's go.